Hello, today we'll be talking about influence and persuasion, and this is based on the principles of the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, professor. So let me just share my screen because I'm gonna do this in more of like a life and marketing perspective and not just sharing, what's in the book. So the first thing is I just want to define, what influence is, and it is to affect or change how someone or something develops, behaves, or thinks. And persuasion, which is part of the word, or persuade, which is the root word of persuasion, is to cause people to do or believe something, especially by explaining why they should. So using the words like because, or just helping people understand that there's a reason behind it makes you already more persuasive. All right. So moving forward, the first thing that I got from the book Influence is known as perceptual contrast, and there's two kinds. So I call this BTS, which is big to small, and the second kind is called STB, which is small to big. So in big to small, it is more about asking, about requesting, about asking for a favor, requesting for a favor, selling something. So to increase the chances of people saying yes to your request, usually you want to downsell people rather than upsell, because when you downsell people, the likelihood of people saying yes to your next offer, which is slightly less than what you're offering at the moment, is going to be much, much higher than if you try to upsell people, which, for example, let's say that you had like a $10 info product, like a book, and you also had like a $497 cost. So first thing you want to pitch to them is usually the cost, because people who usually don't buy the cost are actually more likely to buy the book, because number one, maybe they don't see enough value that you provided, or number two, they don't have enough money at the moment, or number three, you haven't built up, a good relationship with your prospects, and that's why they don't buy your higher end products. But then when you go from a high end to a low end, that's when people start to, oh, okay, so they've got like a mini book, which is like $10. I think that's pretty affordable. I can learn more about that person. I can, start understanding more about that entrepreneur, influencer, and maybe that's gonna help to build our relationship together. In the future, I might buy the higher ticket product, but at the moment, no. So downsell is going to be much, much easier than upselling, especially when you're also closing high ticket. For example, you might have a mastermind at like, $30,000 a year, and then maybe people aren't ready for the mastermind yet, because you always have to qualify people when you try to sell your products or services. So after qualifying people, making sure that they're right fit, maybe they aren't ready for the mastermind, but maybe they will still like some help. And then you would go for maybe like a group coaching at maybe $10,000 for like 90 days or something like that. And therefore, so what you want to do in this case is always asking for like a huge favor, or posing the larger higher ticket sale first before revealing the true smaller favor, which in the case in terms of asking for favor, that's how you could do it in terms of the sales. It's a little bit like having multiple products at different price points. And if you want more people to get, the medium one, you usually want to have three boxes. And so people who really want to spend a lot will spend a lot of you, and people who think that, they're pretty all right, then most of the time they're going to get the middle one. And then obviously people who don't understand will not spend. So occasionally some people get the small product, but not always. And so that is the BTS perceptual contrast. And the next one would be the STB perceptual contrast. So you want to increase the perception of what people can receive from you. And for example, in this case, it's giving out lucky draws, rebates, exchanges. Then you want to give from small to big. So it's something like using a low value offer as a joke. or not really like a joke, but you still give it to them, but then actually give them a true high value offer. So maybe like you would tell them that, oh, they'll stand a chance to win maybe a $20 dining voucher. But in actual fact, if they actually won, you gave them $100 Visa card. Then they're gonna increase that perception of, wow, this company has just gifted me so much. Because they had like less expectation when you already told them about the smaller offer, which is, the $20 dining voucher. But then when they actually received it, they received much, much higher than what they were expecting. So essentially, in this case, it's what you call as exceeding expectations, because you always want to manage people's expectations so they don't expect too much of you that you can't hit the target. So the idea is to get them to always over deliver is my point. So when you over deliver in value, when you over deliver in whatever you're gonna give people through your offers, then that's how people get that kind of know, love, and trust relationship with you. And so that is the STB perceptual contrast. And there's this really odd conception that expensive usually is equals to better. It's not always the case, but most of the time, that's what people think it is. So no one expects the best from the cheapest. But if it's expensive, it's likely to be good. And the quote unquote, you get what you pay for. For example, you see all those people buying Rolex watches, Bentley cars, Gucci bags, Lamborghinis. Why do they buy that? Like, okay, yes, they show off people's status. Yes, they might, look good. But in all honesty, these people felt that they're of better quality. Like the gold looks beautiful and it looks like it's gonna rise in value for the next 5 to 10 months, 5 to 10 years, maybe. Or the Lamborghini just, looks so handsome and it has like a really powerful engine. It has, I don't know. I'm not familiar with cars, but my point is, these people think, or most people think that there's actually a difference, and perhaps there really is. Okay, so the idea is when you're charging for your services, always charge what you're worth. And sometimes I know that people think that they're not worth that much, and it's something that I will be addressing in one of my Wednesday videos. But going back to the point, you must always charge what you're worth, and usually it might be increasing your price. It could be doubling it. So always make sure that the goal of you providing a service, providing coaching, consulting, it's to transform people's lives. So don't you know don't undermine yourself, don't undercharge. Is what my point is. Because when you transform people's lives, it's really impactful. All right. And the second one is the rule of reciprocity. So it doesn't just apply to, people giving gifts to you and you giving gifts back. It could also very much apply to companies. So when I was in like the corporate world and pharmacy, the it's really odd because those like employers, they seem to, especially when like they seem to treat their customers really well, but they don't treat their staff as well. It's really, really um odd. I mean, I understand that customers are the ones that, are, giving them the money, but it doesn't mean like the staff is not, the staff is the one serving the customer, and the customer likes the staff and therefore chooses to shop there. So I believe that the staff should always get like, I would say, recognized and rewarded, whenever possible. And that's actually the key to a hardworking and loyal employee or team. So what you want to do is to personalize gifts, cards, and maybe the things you do. So you could give like your contractor, something. Let's say that Christmas cookies, and you can send them a Christmas card. You can give them like a little $50 gift card, and that's fine. But it just shows people that you appreciate them and appreciate all the work that they're doing for you. And maybe, and you don't even have to make it that much. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be equal, but you just have to show your appreciation, and you have to show that you recognize the efforts of the other person, so they know that they're they know that the company appreciates them. They know that they want to stay because it is a good environment. Because sometimes when you look at companies, you'll find that the people at like this, employee level, they don't really talk much to the people on this managerial level, and there's this like communication gap. And so that's the reason why people like don't understand each other. That's the reason why, aside from obviously, poor pay and like shitty environments in jobs and whatever the case is, but this relationship between the upper people in the company and the lower people in the company, I mean, in terms of ranking, it's really important. So the idea is you want to, give them recognition, give them gifts, give them personalized cards, and they're going to, like, you'll find that it rewards you a lot more, especially when you see people being happy. And like I said, it doesn't have to be equal. You get to dictate what you want to give. And when you give something, the world has a way of giving you back. So it's a little like karma, and I'll be touching on that in another video, but the concept here I want to introduce is called karmic marketing. So whenever you are giving something to someone, being nice to someone, that someone might not be the one to return the favor, but the universe has its own way. It's a really special way to, give you credit for what you've done, to return you those favors or those like um great things that you've done for others. Yeah. So in Chinese, it's called 好人有好报. So it's like when you do good to others, you'll find good things happening to you. All right. So moving forward, we've got liking. So there's this phrase that people buy from people whom they like, which is why you want to build a know, love, and trust relationship. Although I know some entrepreneurs disagree about that, I feel like that is to a certain extent some truth to it. So in terms of liking, there's a few aspects. Number one is physical attractiveness. Some people are just innately born handsome and beautiful, and maybe you don't think you are that way, but that's okay. Like you can always, dress well. You don't have to be in a suit and tie. I just put that there for reference. But I'm just saying that you dress well. People look at you and they think that you're an authority, or they think that there's someone that you're someone that they want to interact with, then that's good enough. Like it doesn't have to, you don't have to literally be like a supermodel, you know. The second thing is similarity. So it could be similarity in like hobbies, it could be similarity in character, personality. So that's the reason why, when you go to like car dealers, and then they will ask like, oh, why are you buying this car for? And then you'll be like, oh, I want this SUV because I like to go camping. And then the car dealer, like the car salesman, would be like, oh, I love to go camping too. Yada yada yada. And you guys talk about camping, and you guys bond over camping, and you guys bond over nature. And then you start to think that, oh, this person's pretty nice, this person's pretty good, and this person's introducing me a nice car. But it's just because you had similarity. So that's the thing about similarity and liking. And the third one is praise or compliments. When you imagine yourself, just when people praise you, oh, you look so good today. Oh, I love your eyes, or all these different things that you see here. You're wonderful, your smile is nice, you look great. Um, how do you feel? You know, Usually when people get praises or compliments, they feel great. Of course, you want to make it sincere because nowadays there's a lot of people giving insincere compliments, which I define that as licking the boot of your boss, which you definitely don't want to do that. And I do know a few people doing that, which is bad because I feel like sometimes their positions are earned by doing that. But I mean, come on, you're just stroking people's ego and in a very insincere way. Like, don't do that. Be sincere, is what I'm saying. If you really felt that that person has a great smile, just tell them that, hey, you smile really well. Your smile is really nice. And you should be proud of yourself. Or if you think that person has done a great job in their assignments, in their assigned work, whatever the case is, give them a specific praise or compliment, something that they know is specific and personalized to them, and they could feel the sincerity behind what you say. And then obviously they'll like you a little bit more and be more willing to do stuff for you, you know? The next one is to do with repeated contact and association. So we'll just go over the first one, which I personally don't 100% agree with, but it does work to a certain extent. So repeated contract is a little bit like, sorry, contact. It's a little bit like being in front of that person or sort of showing up consistently. And I like to think of it as like in a relationship, when you're always with your partner, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a great relationship, which is why I think repeated contact doesn't always work. But it works very well in business. So usually people take about 7 contacts or 7 points of contacts before they even bother to look at your stuff, and even bother to dig a bit deeper into you, dig a bit deeper into what you sell, your services, your products, because of the contact, because of the repeated contact. So they feel like this sense of familiarity, and they feel like you are trustworthy because it's always been a contact. And that's why you would want to buy from people whom you have seen multiple times. The second thing is association, which is a little bit like celebrity branding and things like that. So when you associate yourself with like a world-class celebrity, like for example, some brands like Nike associate themselves with um Michael Jordan, the Air Jordan, that brand. And there's all these associations help to boost the brand and helps to boost people's perception of the brand, and therefore getting more people to buy from you or the brand. And that is the first part of the influence and persuasion bit. I'll be going through the second part in another video. So if you like these kind of videos, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you want more tips on living out your best life and value-driven content, my social media links are up on the top right-hand corner. And have a lovely day. All right. See ya.